Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this meeting of Denby Parish Council's Planning Committee on the 29th of January 2025 at 7:30 in the Old School. And our first item on the agenda tonight is apologies, and there is no need because everybody is here. Welcome. Item 2 on the agenda is declarations of interest. Arising from the agenda, members and officers are invited to declare any relevant interests. Notwithstanding this item, members may subsequently declare an interest at any point during the meeting. Are there any interests to be declared? No. Okay, thank you. Item 3, minutes of the previous meeting. To receive and confirm the accuracy of the minutes of the Planning Committee meeting held on the 8th of January 2025. They have been circulated. Has anybody got any comments? No. Everybody happy then that I signed them as a true record? Okay, that's unanimous. Thank you. I shall sign. Cold fingers will open the pages. Thank you, Lucy. Okay, item 4 is the Planning Committee project report, which has been circulated. Anybody got any comments on the project report? No. Don't think it's greatly changed since the last one. Thank you anyway for it, Lucy. Item 5 then is the public participation session. The meeting will recess for not more than 15 minutes to allow any members of the public to address the meeting. Do you wish to address us, sir? No? Okay. Our one member of the public does not wish to address us, so we will move swiftly on to item 6, which is the planning applications. We effectively have 2 in front of us this evening. I'll explain the third one for the newer members. So the first one is 25 Chevrolet 28 TPO, which is Ms. P. Fisher's application at 10 the Liberty to crown reduce an oak by 2 metres, leaving a height of 15 and a crown spread of 13 to let in more light. I asked Lucy to check with Winchester on Monday because the plan, the plans the data we received showed an outline plan with 3 TPO trees on, with no indication to us of which it was. And Winchester came, Councillor Langford-Smith is calling it up. And Winchester came back and said it's of the 3 you can see on that plan, it's the one on the left. 120046. So, having received that information, I delivered some notifications to the houses overlooking it and took some photographs, which Councillor Langford-Smith has got. Obviously the camera has foreshortened it, but that is the tree. There is a drain, as was marked on the map, which is actually part of Main River. Then a substantial area of parking. Then the house in the background there. The other photograph that Councillor Langford-Smith showed was from the other side, showing there's a good shot of the tree itself with the house to the left. The first one we showed was from the other side, showing the that's the garage of the house. You can see there's a large paved area, and then there's the tree, and the 2 houses beyond are the other side of the greenway, which the tree is on the edge of the greenway. runs down. So we are asked to consider a crown reduction by 2 metres, leaving a height of 15. This is from, the application for number 12. The resident, this is from number 10. The resident for number 12, which is the house you can just see the side view there, supported the application. Not a lot of other facts, to be honest with you. You can see from there how far, how big the tree is, and how far it is from the house. Councillor Hall.
Was the tree there before the house?
I'm fairly sure it was, yeah, because there's a huge line of oaks of various ages all the way down parallel with Forest Road.
Okay, so if that has got a TPO on it, and if it's sound, then I thought that it couldn't be just cut back for light.
Well,
because the tree's there first.
Sorry, Councillor Brown, you comment?
Yeah, the tree they're actually picking out doesn't, although it would shade the house.
Yeah.
It's only actually shading the parking space, the car parking. That's the only light that they would remove. If they actually wanted light in the back garden, it's the trees further down that they would need.
There's one reason I got Lucy to check with Winchester which tree it was, because it only called for one tree. And the comment in the application is that previous prunings have not really done a sufficient job. Well, sorry, I'll answer Councillor Hall first. Yes, they don't normally prune a tree just to allow in light, but this is the reason. The reason given is to allow more light in. And as I say, I was puzzled as to which tree it was, which is because it didn't clarify. Winchester said it's that one. Councillor Ranger. Oh, sorry, beg your pardon, Councillor Carson.
From the photos, it's not a particularly large oak. It's not particularly well shaped oak-wise, but maybe that's as a result of weakening my previous pruning. I don't see that it causes an issue with light, and I fear that further work might accelerate its demise.
Yes. Councillor Ranger.
I was going to say that I think recently, I don't know whether your picture shows it, but there's been a lot of tree work down that path in the last few days. And that particular tree there, whilst it looks a rather ugly oak, in my opinion, is quite prominent on the basis that it's the only large one left.
What the trees that were recently removed weren't TPO'd ones. All the TPO ones are still there.
And off their trunks.
Yeah. Sorry, Councillor Vickers.
Do you consider it a danger in any way? So, are we, with the high winds, is it going to keel over on somewhere significant? Are there going to be fallen branches? That's how I sort of see it. I tend to agree with trees there for the house, and lots of people like to put their houses, the trees back to bring more light in. And I also think the power of Denby Facebook currently about green. Everybody's getting really irate about cutting things back.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we have lost much more significant trees than that because houses were built near to them, and subsequently we've had to take them out because of claims of damage caused by their roots. Councillor Brown, sorry, you were sat there patiently.
That picture does not do that tree any favours. When that tree is in full leaf, it is a substantial tree and covers the trees. The other one, the other side of the greenway, and the two behind, make a very dense foliage cover through there, and continuing on down through the greenway.
Councillor Clay. Sorry.
If it's in good health, and I think it is, I think we should leave it as it is. You could do with some ivy being chopped at the base for sure to stop strangulation, if anything. But with that concern, perhaps we can ask the tree surgeons to have a look.
Well, he will go. The tree officer will go and have a look anyway. Councillor Brown.
Ivy climbing up a tree is not actually necessarily detrimental to it, and there's good habitat for it's varying species.
Degrees in France.
So anyway, the application is to prune this tree. I am no arboriculturalist, so I can't give a definitive comment on the health of the tree. That the tree officer will do when he comes and looks at it, if he hasn't already. If there's dead branches in there, they're allowed to remove those anyway. Councillor Carson. Yeah.
I would like to propose that we raise a significant objection that the tree has importance in the landscape.
Okay. Councillor Lancashire-Smith, want to say that?
We normally have issues with trees when they're in very close proximity to buildings.
Yeah.
This tree is not in close proximity, it's very much part of the greenway. It's a good distance from any of the dwellings. So I would second Councillor Carson's proposal.
Sorry, Councillor Clay. Okay, so we have a proposal to object on the grounds that strong objection. Sorry, on Councillor Brown.
A strong objection would normally mean it goes to committee.
Not necessarily.
It's
a separate decision we have to make. But
Do I understand the difference between an objection and a strong objection?
well,
We object to the does it have some significant bearing
I'm not-
on where it goes, that objection?
no, it doesn't make any difference to where it goes. It just says, we really don't think this should happen. But
So we really don't think it should happen. Really.
yeah, okay, we can do with that on the release. Thank you, Councillor Brown.
Most of our strong objections, I don't think that we've ever had one that we have never sent to committee, which is why we put strong objection. That's the way it normally goes.
Okay. Right, we have a proposal for a strong objection to any work on this tree on the grounds that it is not, it seems unnecessary work to a tree which is not in an immediate vicinity of the house.
And there's a significant tree on the street.
And there's a significant tree on the street scene. There we go. We okay with this, Lucy? Yeah. Good to go. Have a show of hands then for that. Yeah. Okay, that's unanimous. And do we want it to go to committee? Yeah. Yeah, Councillor Brown?
No.
No.
Is that serious? Only if they're minded to accept.
Well, yes, but we normally have a separate decision on whether we ask for it to go to committee.
Okay, forgive me, I thought we usually said, and if they're minded to.
But yes, but that's part of the... Yes. I mean, there's no point asking it for it to go to committee if the officer's going to turn it down anyway. So, we have a proposal for it to go to committee? No? Okay, so it's just a strong objection then. Okay, thank you. We'll move on then to number 2, which is Mr. Dibben. I don't really want to try the Rizziart. I have no idea. I don't wish to insult the gentleman. Mr. Rowlands. My time in Wales tells me it's Welsh, but I don't really know how to pronounce it, so I probably give up trying. At Sitface, Hamilton Road, for a dropped curb. Sitface, for those who don't know, is one of the string of...
No.
It's one of the string of cottages just up the road from the... Where are we? Old school, up that way. Hamilton Road. Basically, you could, if you could zoom that in a bit, please, Councillor. Yeah, it's Cottage St Faith, Rose Hill and Meadowley are 4 adjoining cottages of various widths, and the application is for a dropped curb at St Faith's. Certainly, I believe they park there as at one point did Rose Hill Cottage on their bit. And they're obviously bumping up and down a curb, and they're asking for a dropped curb. Councillor Brown?
I would propose no objection. Next door, one neighbours have a drop curb. I think the next door, as you say, already parks on there, and I can't see any reason to object.
Okay. Have a show of hands then for those who have no objection. Okay. Right, the third one in front of us, I know Councillor Langford Smith has added some photographs for those of you who don't know this site. This is a prior notification agricultural change of use, which is the legislation used, which says I want to convert a barn or other farm building into a house because it's of no use to me as a barn. And there is the barn in question. It's in behind the tool hire, Beaver tool hire site. It's in behind there, behind Bing's Business Park. Thank you. That's the one I was trying to think of. And as you go up Soak Road, there are some beyond Bing's. There are some bungalows, and then there's a track into where the barn is. Basically, a year ago they put in a planning application to knock it down and build a large house, and that was turned down.
And it's just been dismissed at appeal, Chair.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Yes, for reminding me. This came through in 2021 in the same format as it is now, to just a prior notification to convert. They were given that permission, and then they obviously decided to rather knock it down and build a bigger house, which was, as I said, was turned down. So this is an application coming back for the same as previously, convert the barn to a house. That's basic facts of the matter, really. We've shown on the plan where it is. It's in behind Bing's Business Park. It's actually Miss Georgia Bing's application. But a lot of the land around there is owned by the Bings. Councillor Brown?
By the fact that it's already had an application accepted for an identical plan, I can't see that it'd be turned down, but I am very much doubtful that that building is convertible into a property. It's a single skin building without actually not.
There is another example of a PNCOU in the village a few years back where nobody objected to it. Well, there's not significant objections to it, other than when they went and looked at it and they said, if you try it'll fall down, so no, you can't do it. So then they repaired the barn, and then they told they couldn't convert it because the barn was too well built and too new. But, so, yes, Councillor Carson.
On the gate,
Yeah.
they got motocross coming soon. Huge banner on that gate.
I've seen that on Facebook as well. Yeah.
Okay. Relevant comment.
Well, yeah. It's that one, is it? I thought it was further up the hill,
No,
up the
it's the
road.
same one.
Okay.
Relevant to this application is the fact that on the gate they've got a huge banner
Okay. Not
Just informing.
not particularly relevant because we very often don't even get told about these. Councillor Langford Smith.
And just to say, Chair, that if that were to come forward, that would have to be a separate planning application. If you look at the plot, it is quite a large plot, so it could potentially accommodate both, but it would have to be a separate planning application.
Councillor Brown, do you?
I would, seeing as it's had an application for this before, I don't see any point in
We
objecting.
can't object, it's a notification.
It's a notification. We put it on. I got Lucy to put it on so people were aware, but we don't unless we have a reason that we can find to say no, this shouldn't be agreed. There's nothing we can do, so we just note it because I put it on so everybody was aware. Yeah.
I
Councillor Brown.
do find it very strange in the term of a farm. More of a shed than a farm.
Well, I think it's more of a vehicle store or a stable or buyer. Sorry, Councillor Langford.
Under the permitted development class Q, it can be any outbuilding, it doesn't necessarily have to be a barn.
Yeah, it's very often a barn, but not always. Okay, so that's the application. We okay with that, Lucy? Right, good. Item 7 is decisions received. So we have the proposed two-storey rear extension at Avalon and Southwark Road approved. The Tanglewood School Lane front and rear dormers, etc. And photovoltaic cells to the rear of the house and the garage approved. Bellins 22 Park Road, the demolition of the garage and replacement with a single-storey side extension. Effectively a granny stroke disabled annex was approved. The roof extension, dormers, etc. at Oakley Hamilton Road was approved. I don't think we objected to any of those. And the demolition of existing office and ancillary building, conversion of existing industrial warehouse, etc. That is, sorry, I've lost it myself. That is Soak Foam Yard in Demi. That was turned down by Winchester and has now been turned down by a planning inspector. And in the planning inspector's report is in your documentation for you to look at. The planning inspector more or less agreed with what we said and with what Winchester said, that it wasn't a suitable place or a suitable building. Interesting, he made a great deal of comment about the lack of garden on a couple of the properties as well. So those are the decisions we've received. Oh, sorry, Ken.
I always found it very useful to be able to see our comment.
I forgot to inform Lucy that we normally do that.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Because we
Yeah.
can't remember it all, can we?
No, I do. Yeah, sometimes I forget things and I forget to pass them on to Lucy, so I'm sure she'll put our comment in on them next time. But okay, new planning applications. I think we've had one, or is it? Yeah. So just the one so far. Item 9 is Lanhoff Soak Road. Oh, I apologise to Councillor Carson because I thought that was under address, but it's not, it's under main. So, yes, an email was received from a resident regarding the land at Soak Road being advertised as a potential motocross track. So, yes, we've already commented, or Councillor Langford Smith has, that it would need a separate planning application. Councillor Brown?
There's nothing we can do about it until something actually happens.
No. Yeah. Apologies, Councillor Carson. I'd forgotten where it was in the agendas. You're looking very puzzled, Councillor Clay. Did you want to say something?
It's the first I've heard of it. elaborate a little bit?
Well, there's a sign on the gate entrance to the application for the barn conversion
Right.
saying coming soon motocross.
One of those fields.
Yeah, in the gap.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
similar to what they used to have in Rowlands up there. Yeah.
Well, we don't know. We haven't seen it. Haven't had any plans or anything. It's just an advertising coming soon motocross. Yeah, I'm not sure who was first there. Oh, Councillor Langley-Smith.
Just put in motocross into Denley Community
Oh, really?
on the Facebook site, and then you'll see all the comments.
There's a lot of them.
Isn't it?
Councillor Brown.
There is already another one that exists up Edney's, Whitehorse, up that way somewhere.
Yeah, it's up,
Up by the
up nearly at the top of Edney's, I think, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. Councillor Carson, sorry.
I think that was my concern with the relevance to the planning application as to whether the Avon wasn't really going to be converted for residential use and was associated in some way with this. And I wondered, you know, for the application, and I know we've moved on from that now, I should have pushed it at the time, whether we could have made a comment that says if
Well,
if the permission is given, that it can be ensured that that is a residential property, nothing to do with
Well,
business.
the application is for to convert to a dwelling. If they were to do anything else, they would be in breach of planning, and then they would. Yeah, if they wanted to change it thereafter, they'd have to put in a planning application. Councillor Langley-Smith. Councillor Brown was first.
It wasn't relevant to that planning application.
No, it wasn't. But and even if it had been a planning application for a house, we couldn't have speculated that it might have been used for another purpose, because we're not allowed to do. Councillor Langley-Smith.
That's absolutely correct, but also if they did want to do motocross, they're quite at liberty to use one of the other buildings and put that in as part of their planning application. And we have the opportunity to comment at that stage of the planning process.
So, there is nothing we can do about it. We acknowledge the residents' comment to us. And, we note it and await planning, or if not, activities which would be in breach of planning. Councillor Langley-Smith.
Chair, the minutes could note that if residents have concern, they can contact enforcement at Winchester on the email address, and we could include the enforcement email address, which is enf@winchester.gov.uk.
Item 10 then. So, sorry, Councillor Brown.
That is exactly what happened with the people who were using the field opposite Bing's Business Park on the other side of Hambledon Road. They were reported for using that as a motorbike track by members of the public.
Was that successful?
Well, they don't do it at the moment, but whether that's just the fact that they're not doing it. But
I was one of those.
It's a marine park, isn't it?
Yeah, it's unacceptable.
Well, anyway, moving on to item 10, which may also be relevant, is social media. And to discuss and determine action on what content could be added to the Parish Council's social media channels. Councillor Brown?
apart from putting on our decisions from tonight, putting on there the fact that if people see things that are not within or out of the boundaries they would normally expect, that they put Winchester's enforcement link on there so that people can know where they can report things.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think I would support that. I don't think we could say, for instance, motocross track. That would that might be a bit too over the top. But yes, Councillor Jones.
Still give examples of things that they might see that we've had from past experience.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Councillor Lancaster.
I think possibly people might want to have a conversation with the office first, just to see whether or not it is in breach of planning before they report, because otherwise we're just going to be inundated with complaints from Denmead that aren't actually relevant complaints because it's permitted development or would not fall under enforcement. And I would not want for our legitimate objections or issues that we raise with enforcement to get lost in a huge Denmead list of issues that are not actually worthy of investigation.
Well, yeah, Councillor Ranger had his hand up.
My comment with regards about the report to whether it be the office or to whoever is that people that have highlighted various things in the past have seen little in terms of enforcement reaction, positive or negative, depending which way you look at it. But and therefore, I think we've got to be a little careful in terms of how. Yes, I think the message is right. However, it's not going to be a meal ticket for anyone that says, "Oh, that's not allowed, and therefore it needs to be changed," etc. So I think we need to set the right levels of
Managing
expectations.
expectations.
Because that's, or else we're going to open the floodgate, metaphorically and physically.
Councillor Brown.
I'm against both of the two options from Councillor Ranger and Langford Smith. It should be, people are able to report to enforcement. We are not qualified to say whether it is an enforcement case or it isn't an enforcement case. It's not our jurisdiction. If someone sees something they don't think is right, they should report it.
Councillor Clay.
Is there not a document or criteria that Winchester have produced that we can put a link to so that the general public know exactly what they're looking for? Otherwise there'll be constant phone calls and
There was
something we can look at.
there was a document being produced and shown to us at a meeting
I had a draft document that we could release.
back in December, was it? Councillor Langford Smith and I went to a discussion about enforcement, and they have actually produced their A4 leaflet folded in 3 that they were going to distribute, but well, I haven't seen it yet. Councillor Carson.
I actually agree with Councillor Brown.
There's a first.
You're welcome. I don't
Well-
think we should be the filtering mechanism that we can.
Well, we will put up a note saying, as we I think we've agreed, saying if you think there's something that isn't right under planning, then send it to enforcement. And enforcement, if they wish to complain, they'll just say not not valid. Thank you very much. And so on. Councillor Victor.
I think there's a popular misconception that the parish council can heal every wound and every ailment in the village, and I think that that's become even more apparent of recently, including, bin collections, is the verge green enough, flooding, everything. So I think it's a good idea. I too think that your idea is a good idea because I think it then empowers people to know that the council can't do everything, and it has to go through another layer. So I still agree.
Thank you.
Tonight.
Well, if
I wouldn't say that, you just agree with that.
well, if the government has its way, it may actually all come down to us anyway, because
when
Winchester may disappear.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's not for us to determine at the moment. Okay, so we'll put something up to the effect that if you suspect something is not right, then this is the address to report it to. Hopefully,
I'll scan the leaflet, Jeff.
and we can have or put up the leaflet saying this is what enforcement do, and etc. Okay, moving on then to item 11, matters for the next agenda. Any matters from members for the next agenda? Councillor Langford Smith.
Possibly to note that Mr. Ramirez is moving on from Persimmon, and he's not being replaced, so we will have a new contact. I don't know who that will be yet.
Doesn't that kind of mean he is being replaced?
No.
his boss.
Oh, right, okay, thank you. Right, okay, moving on then to item 12, the confidential report. How do you get on? To pass a resolution in accordance with the Public Bodies Admissions to Meetings Act 1960 to exclude the public and press for this. Somebody going to read? Councillor Jones has moved the motion, thank you.